Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. As you can see from the title, this is a get ready with me video and I'm going to be giving you lots of life updates, including the most important one, which you can see right there in the title of this video. I'm pregnant. So many of you have guessed this. You've read the signs, you have picked up on my hints, and you were correct. I am expecting a baby, and I'm gonna tell you all the details in this video, so if you're interested in hearing about my huge life news, definitely stay tuned. It has been forever since I filmed a Get Ready With Me. I wanna say like 6 months or maybe even more. So yeah, I'm a little out of practice. And I also just haven't been filming a ton lately because of the obvious reasons. But I'm gonna do my best to get ready with you all today, and I'm just gonna be doing like a very normal routine. I'm getting ready, well, not that normal, because I'm getting ready for a little girls' night with my friends, and I'm trying to channel Y2K from makeup today. I'm not really gonna take that too seriously, but I'm gonna do something a little fun, a little colorful, but also kind of like my basic go-tos as well. I'll be using mostly makeup that I am panning, just like my regular beauty routine. So let's get right into it. I already have my SPF on. I'm using this one from Numbuzin, and it's like a Korean skincare brand, and I really love this one. And I've also already applied my hydrating primer from Ciate that I am currently panning in my Deca Panning project. Starting off with my Age Perfect Serum Foundation that I am panning. Let's just slap this on and start telling you the exciting news. So I mentioned in a video, I wanna say about, I don't know, probably about a year ago, that Danny and I were ready to try for a baby, and we started officially trying in September of last year, so September of 2024. And I will be honest, it did not happen right away. Well, it did happen right away, but we experienced 2 losses before we have had this pregnancy. As of 2 days ago, I am 23 weeks pregnant, so I am more than halfway there, and we are just 1 week away from viability week, which is the time that babies are more likely, or at least have a better chance of survival if they come early or premature, I should say. So I am pretty much out of the danger zone, knock on wood. I have definitely kept this close to the vest because I just wanted to make sure that everything was going well. I didn't want to make any announcements before I knew that things were going to stick around. And it's just been a process going through all this. This is my first pregnancy, or first like time trying to get pregnant, and it hasn't been the easiest road. Danny and I started trying in September of last year, and we got lucky in that we got pregnant immediately on our first try, but the first pregnancy did not stick around. It was what's considered a chemical pregnancy, which is where you get a positive pregnancy test, but then you quite quickly after that, my period came. So that is not like an official clinical pregnancy because it's never established, or it's never confirmed by a doctor. So that was disappointing, but you know, we were like very encouraged that we got pregnant the first time, and we were ready to try again. So the next round, tried again to get pregnant, got pregnant again. Again, very encouraging, feel very blessed that you know, everything is working in that department. And then with that pregnancy, I went into the doctor at 8 weeks to get the pregnancy confirmed. When they did the ultrasound and looked to see how everything was doing, they actually did not find a fetal heartbeat, and the baby, or I guess I should say the embryo, was only measuring at about 6 weeks. So that we determined was probably not a viable pregnancy. I had to wait 10 days. I had to go home, and it was actually really hard just to go through that, like wait in limbo for those 10 days of just like knowing that this pregnancy was probably not viable, but I just had to wait and see. It was quite a difficult time, and I probably hinted about that on my videos. I don't think I filmed a lot of videos during that time because I was just feeling so sad, and it was right around the holidays that this was all going on. So just a hard time of year to be dealing with all that. So it did turn out, I went back in, and the pregnancy was not developing. So I was very sad, very disheartened by that. And I could have just waited to see if the pregnancy aborted itself on its own, or I could have chosen to take a medication to induce a miscarriage, which is what I ended up deciding to do. It had actually already been closer to 2 weeks at that point, and still my body had not gotten rid of the pregnancy yet. So I decided to take a medication to induce the pregnancy, and that was quite the painful experience. Pretty traumatic. I don't wish it upon anyone, but this is like, you know, part of the process that no one really talks about. About 50% of pregnancies result in miscarriage. It's a big percentage, especially with women of my age. I am 39 years old, so I definitely am on the advanced maternal age side, and miscarriage is just a reality of the whole process. So people don't talk about it a lot. I always thought that people didn't talk about it, but I think experiencing it, I really realized how little people talk about the different things that can happen, and you know, how much of a miracle it really is when a pregnancy develops. So yeah, that was a difficult time. I don't want to go too much into detail about all of that. If you would like me to film a video about my miscarriages or my experiences with that, let me know in the comments. It's not something I really want to dwell on in this video, because this is a happy video. Because long story short, we're here today. We're 23 weeks today with pregnancy number 3. And so I did wait like a month before I tried getting pregnant again. They recommended kind of going through a cycle to kind of just build back up your endometrium layer, to have a nice thing for the new developing pregnancy to grip onto when it happens. So I waited a month, and then in February, Danny and I got our 3rd positive pregnancy test. And you know, at this point, when you've gone through what I've gone through, you kind of can be like, okay, like we're pregnant. Like, it's hard to be very excited because you're just afraid that it might happen again. So you know, we were excited, but we definitely were keeping it very quiet, very close to the vest. Didn't tell any friends, family, loved ones, or anything for a long time. But, you know, secretly like really hoping that this was the one. I did have something really scary happen with this pregnancy, where I thought that I might have lost it. When I was just at about 9 weeks pregnant, almost 9 weeks pregnant I think I was, I had some bleeding, and obviously that's never a good sign, but also it's quite common in early pregnancy to experience some bleeding. So I tried not to freak out too much, but I was definitely freaking out quite a bit. I woke up early in the morning and had some bleeding, and then it actually turned out to be quite a bit of bleeding. I ended up, sorry if this is TMI, but this is a life update. I ended up passing a little bit of quite a large blood clot, and it actually was quite reminiscent of what I experienced during my miscarriage, and I completely panicked. And it was a very inopportune time because I was up at my cabin in Arnold with some girlfriends, and none of them knew that I was pregnant. And I basically woke up the whole house in the middle of the night with like my distress and like kind of freaking out in the bathroom and just really upset and worried. So at that point, that group of girlfriends definitely knew that I was expecting. So we ended up leaving my cabin kind of in a rush to go down to the Bay Area to see my doctor and check on the pregnancy. I went in, they weren't able to see me until the next day, but I went in hoping for the best but fearing the worst. And thankfully I was able to see an actual OB. They went right to business and checked on the fetus, and lo and behold, there was still a heartbeat and the baby was looking good. And they diagnosed me with what is called a subchorionic hematoma, which is like basically a bruise that forms between the placenta and your vaginal wall, or not vaginal wall, between the placenta and the wall of your uterus, as like those two organs are like enmeshing together. And it's just like a little pocket of blood basically. And the doctor asked me, like, have you been having any vigorous activity before this happened? And lo and behold, me and my girlfriends, true to form, had been up late the night before, dancing and singing. This is what we do when us choir girls get together. And the answer to that was yes. We had been like up late doing karaoke, jumping up and down, having a grand old time. And I believe that is what induced the bleeding. So the doctor was just telling me to take it easy, to have a little bit of pelvic rest, to not like do anything too crazy for the next couple weeks. He did say that if I started bleeding again, or there was a good chance that I would bleed a little bit more as this hematoma resolves itself. It can slightly increase chance of miscarriage, but for the most part, it's pretty benign, and most of them resolve themselves naturally. So thankfully, I did not experience any more bleeding after that, and we are now 23 weeks into what all signs point to a very healthy pregnancy. Here is the picture of the baby. This is my 21-week anatomy scan. At 20 weeks or around 20 weeks, they look at every little part of the baby, the organs, and make sure everything's in place and formed correctly, make sure the limbs are looking good. They confirm the sex of the baby, and I'm happy to report that this baby is looking perfect as of now, and I'm very, very excited to welcome this baby into the world in November. November 13th is the official due date. Of course, that's always like an estimation. Well, not really an estimation, but you know, 5% of babies actually arrive on their due date. So I'm just telling people that I'm due in November. Could come early, could come late. Being smack dab in the middle of November, I think it's pretty high chance we're gonna get a November baby. Fingers crossed. I have a healthy, full-term pregnancy. But yeah, I'm feeling good. First trimester was definitely rocky. A lot of you picked up in my last video, you could see this on my refrigerator. I meant to move it and then I didn't, and I was like, you know what? If people are so inclined to be that observant in my videos, then they deserve to know a little bit early and they can know about my little secret before everyone else. Before I make the official announcement, I have not made any kind of announcement on Instagram or social media, so you guys are getting a bigger announcement than most of the strangers in my life, or most of the people in my life that follow me. I just figured, like, it's such a personal thing, and I don't need like every single person who follows me or like people who I knew from high school to know like what's going on in my life. But yeah, it's kind of like a hard launch once this baby comes. But I did want to share it with my YouTube community because I've been dropping lots of hints about just being really tired, not having a lot of energy. My upload schedule has not been consistent at all. I have just not really been prioritizing YouTube or making videos. And I think that's very understandable. I really don't know how people do it, where they just maintain their normal video schedule while also growing a baby. I don't know how y'all do it, but power to you. I am not like that. I definitely let YouTube take a back seat while I just tried to maintain a sense of normalcy, because it has not been normal whatsoever. The first trimester was rough, that is for sure. It is no joke what they say. And it's really hard because most people don't tell people during the first trimester, so you have to like suffer in silence. And that's definitely what I was doing. I was so dead tired all the time. I was also super nauseous, and I had to eat like constantly. It was like a full-time job keeping myself fed. If I didn't eat every 2 hours, like on the dot, I felt completely terrible. Like I was just going to completely throw up at any point. I never actually did throw up. A lot of people don't who experience morning sickness, or I hate that they call it morning sickness. I feel like everyone says that, but it's so true. Like, change the name, just call it nausea, because it happens all day, especially in the evening actually. Definitely immediately when you wake up, like you have to get food in your stomach, or at least I did as soon as I was awake. But that was true throughout the entire day. I had to maintain a full stomach. I had to have small snacks throughout the day to keep myself feeling comfortable. Other symptoms of the first trimester, I was dead tired. I was tired all the time. I had to take a nap every single day. I actually took several naps at work, like on my break times or on my lunches. I would lay down on my desk or on my carpeted work, and I didn't even intend to, but I would close my eyes and next thing I knew, it would be 30 minutes later and I had completely passed out. And it was rough. And I wasn't drinking a lot of coffee. You know, you're not supposed to drink a lot of coffee when you're pregnant. You're supposed to kind of limit your caffeine intake. Not that I think coffee even would have helped at all. It was that level of exhaustion. You really don't understand it till you experience it. Like, your body just feels like a dead weight. Like, there's like this weight bearing down on you that like you have to lay down. And every day when I came home from work, oh my gosh, forget filming a video, forget cleaning my house, forget making dinner. I just wanted to lay on the couch, and I did. I would lay on the couch as soon as I got home and I would fall asleep for like an hour, 2 hours, sometimes even 3 hours at a time. And that's all I could do to survive and to get through that time. And you know what? Your body is making a baby. It's going through these crazy changes. The hormones are raging. So, you know, it's understandable that we have no energy during that time. And I was finding so many funny like reels on Instagram relating to the level of exhaustion that is the first trimester. And that stuff is real. Those were pretty much my only first trimester symptoms, were the exhaustion and the nausea. My boobs definitely got bigger and like swelled up a little bit, but they weren't very sore. Maybe they were like a little sensitive, but nothing too dramatic. But yeah, I definitely have like kind of been squeezing out of my bra and just wearing like really comfortable bras during that time. And I've bought some wireless maternity bras since to just keep myself comfortable. And I've just, my kitty's being very cute. He got a new cat dancer today. So if you hear any growling noises in the background, he is in his gremlin mode, being a hunter, a beast with his cat dancer. You guys know cat dancers, they're like the best cat toy in the world. So yeah, boobs a little bit big and swelling and a little bit sensitive, but not too bad. And then the nausea and the exhaustion. It was rough, I'm telling you. We definitely ate out a lot. I was not having any like specific cravings, but just like hungry all the time and not having the energy to cook like I normally do. So we had a lot of takeout, a lot of burritos, some pho. I had pho quite a few times, and Greek food, like falafel, gyros, things like that. Just trying to, you know, survive, but also eat relatively healthy if I could. Definitely wasn't like my top priority. I was just like in survival mode. I know you're supposed to like really focus on nutritionally dense foods when you're pregnant, but I was just trying not to die. So anything that I could actually stomach, that was what I ate. I am now well into my second trimester, getting close to the third trimester. And second trimester, you know, they say that you get your energy back, the nausea goes away. It didn't happen overnight. The second trimester starts at 14 weeks. I would say that I didn't really start feeling back to myself or back to my regular energy levels, or close to them at least, until closer to like maybe 18, 19 weeks. And still at that point, you know, you are still pregnant, so you can't do everything that you normally can do. This was right around our trip to Europe, which I'll talk about a little bit towards the end of this video. But I still had quite a bit of nausea in the early part of the second trimester. But it did finally start going away around probably week 18. But I'm still like hungry all the time. I still have to eat consistently, and I try to just have like small meals more often, keep my snack game up, kind of just have things available. And that's kind of how I survived this first trimester, is I always had like a protein bar or nuts in my purse as like emergency food. I ate a lot of cheese, like cheese sticks and things like that were in my refrigerator at work, just so I always had something I could, like a quick protein snack I could munch on, and that helped me to get through that. But now that I'm well into this part of the second trimester, I am feeling really good. I do feel like my energy is back. I'm able to get things done around the house. It's also summer break, so that definitely helps. You know, I have a lot more time on my hands, but I'm still taking those naps. Like yesterday, I was feeling pretty tired, like around 4:30 and I laid down and I probably napped for a good hour. And I'm just like allowing myself to do that. You know, I'm giving myself permission to get that rest and listen to my body and just like give myself some grace that I am growing a fucking, excuse my language, I'm growing a person, I'm growing a body right now. You know, I'm growing organs and skin and eyelashes and eyebrows and a brain and all these things. And it takes a lot of energy. So if I'm feeling tired, I'm not letting myself feel guilty about laying down and giving myself that rest. And I give that permission to every pregnant mama out there. Hey, pregnant or not, listen to your body. If you're tired, take a nap. Okay? In fact, I'm feeling a little bit peckish right now. So I'm gonna take a quick little break. I'm gonna go eat a little snack so I can focus on doing this makeup and finishing the rest of this video and not distracted by my hunger pains I'm feeling right now. So I'll be right back. Okay, I am fed and happy and I'm back and we're gonna finish this makeup look. And tell me why I am like already exhausted from filming. This is just another reason why you have not been seeing the usual videos that you normally see from me, because just like sitting and talking and doing like any kind of focused activity takes like an incredible amount of energy that I just don't seem to have these days. So thank you for your patience while I muster up the energy to finish my makeup. All right, so just putting on a little bit of highlighter, and I believe I left off talking about my second trimester, feeling great. Everything's going great so far. We have done the prenatal testing that is available to us because of my advanced maternal age, and what that entailed was at 10 weeks, I did what's called the non-invasive prenatal testing, which is a blood test, and they just take a maternal blood sample from me, and using that blood test they can look for any well, not any chromosomal abnormalities, but like the major chromosomal abnormalities that affect most, or can affect, like that are the most common amongst pregnancies. So thankfully that all came back normal, or very low risk is what they say. There's still like a small chance that there could be a chromosomal abnormality that they're not screening for, but I was satisfied with that low risk result, and I decided not to go forward with any further testing after that. But what is also great about that testing is that it also can tell you the fetal sex of the baby. And Danny and I did decide that we wanted to know what the sex of the baby was as soon as possible. So we had that told to us. It was actually really sweet. My doctor gave it to me in like a little envelope, and I was able to open it with my husband at home, and we were very happy. Well, we really were gonna be happy with any sex of baby, of course, not a big deal, but I was especially happy to find out that we are having a girl. We're having a girl, expecting a girl. And you know, I don't know about you guys, but I've had my like baby girl name picked out for years and years. So I didn't really have a boy name that I had thought of. So I was really happy to find out that it was going to be a girl, because that just made my naming process a lot easier. I'm not gonna share the name right now. I think I'll make you all wait till my baby arrives, just to weed out any opinions that y'all might have. But I really love it, and I think it's really sweet and really cute. And that gender, even though this is a genetic test and like it's very, very accurate, that gender was also, not gender, the sex of the baby was also confirmed in my anatomy scan that I had at 21 weeks. So we are definitely having a girl, which I'm just over the moon about. Danny is gonna be the best girl dad. I just cannot wait to see him with a little girl, and it is just his lot in life that he is surrounded by women. He has so many women that rely on him, his mother, his aunts, myself, and now this newest little baby, little bit of magic, his daughter. So with this big change that's coming into my life, you know, I'm really kind of questioning what the future of my channel is gonna look like, how much time and energy I'm going to have to devote to YouTube, to editing videos. I already really struggle with keeping a consistent upload schedule, with having the time and energy to film videos, to have the time to edit those videos. It does take up a lot of time, and I have really been prioritizing my time differently, as I've talked about, just like not really having as many videos going up or having them be late, skipping some uploads here and there. And I really do apologize for that, but I just don't want to promise anything in the future, because I really cannot even begin to predict what having a baby is going to feel like, or how my life, I know it's going to change drastically, but how that's going to affect my ability to create content. I really want to continue my channel. I really love this hobby, and I really have loved seeing my channel grow over the years, and I would love to continue to see it grow, but I just don't know how realistic that is with my lifestyle, with all the expectations that are going to be on me over the next several years until this child like becomes a little bit more independent. And I also just don't really know like where YouTube is going or where my content is going, if I'm going to be wearing as much makeup, if I'm going to be, you know, working full-time still. There's just a lot of questions, a lot of unknown, and I just kind of want to leave it at that with just saying like, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm going to try to keep creating content as much as I can, but I might be doing less projects, I might be putting out less videos, I might be putting out different styles of videos. If you have any suggestions of what maybe you would like to see, I might maybe like make a shift away from panning, maybe still keep some panning projects, but trying different types of content too, maybe more lifestyle content, more like motherhood type content. I do not intend to put my baby on YouTube. I feel very strongly about monetizing our children without their consent on the internet. So you will not be seeing the baby on this channel, probably not on Instagram. And I hope you can understand that. I hope you agree with that, because I just think it's not their choice to be in the public eye. And I definitely don't want to monetize their little faces or their life, because that's just not their choice. I feel very strongly about that. My husband and I will also be moving out of this place eventually, probably not until next summer. We live in a very small little 1-bedroom apartment. It's more like a studio, really. I will go ahead and link my apartment tour video in the description box if you want to see the space that I live in. We love it. We've been here for I think 9 years now, and it's been a great place. It's really special to us. It has great feeling, great vibe, but obviously there's not really space here for a child, but there is space enough for a baby. So we're gonna try and make this space work for as long as we can, probably at least a year. I was gonna move in with my mother-in-law before the baby came, like this summer, but I am just not mentally prepared to do that right now. There's enough change coming into our life that I don't want to add another big change and another big stress right now. Not until I absolutely have to. I think once this baby gets to be toddling around and getting into things, I will really feel the pressure of getting out of this space. And the reason that we're moving in with our mother-in-law is because, or my mother-in-law, is that we live in a very expensive area. We live in the Bay Area, the epicenter of big tech, and neither my husband nor myself work in tech, so we do not make tech money. We have great careers, but we don't make enough money to even rent a house that's big enough for us in this area. It's really quite criminal, quite sad. I don't want to get into all the details of that. It just makes the most sense financially for our family, and also for like our family as a whole with Danny's mother, that we just combine households and make the most of the cards that we're dealt, instead of like going into financial ruin trying to live separately and keep up with the Joneses. It's not ideal, but we're both very hardworking people, and we just want to make the best choice for our family for the long run. And if that means living together as a family for a few years, then that's the sacrifice we're gonna have to make. I'm not gonna go into much more detail about that. You know, I could go on and on about housing prices and the income differences with different industries. That is just unfair and not right, but I'm not gonna focus on that right now. Suffice to say that we're gonna try and make it work in this little 700 square feet until this baby is just bursting at the seams, and then we'll make that change when we have to. And I think I would like to make a video about that, about just like, I don't know, bringing a baby into like a less than Instagram worthy or Instagram, what am I trying to say? Like Instagrammable lifestyle. You know, everyone you see on the internet these days has like these pristine nurseries that they have set up before the baby comes, and just everything in its place, and just like perfectly themed, and they have every little bits and bob, and it's just unrealistic, and it's not real life for me. And I would like to show like a different side of that. I'm going to show you like how we're gonna make it work in our family with our limited space and our limited budget. And you know, I'm very much gonna look at this pregnancy and this time of motherhood is like a minimal lens, like without having like every little gadget, and just like making it work with what we have and trying to be really smart about it. And babies really do not need a lot. It's, you know, really kind of silly how much consumerism is put around early parts of baby's life, or just raising children in general. And I really try to resist that when I can. And we're gonna be living creatively. That's just our reality that we are resigned to. And also, like, not only just resigned to it, but a goal for myself is that I don't want to succumb to all of that. I want to just, you know, get by with enough. So we don't have a nursery in our 1-bedroom studio. We're gonna make it work with a dresser and a bassinet and maybe a pack and play. That's gonna be our reality. And if you're interested in seeing content like that, or just like how, you know, people in my situation are making it work, let me know in the comments, because I think it would be kind of a breath of fresh air to see some different kind of content around having a baby that's not Instagrammable and totally like living up to this image that we see on the internet a lot of the times when it comes to nurseries and babies and all that. So let me know. While I'm wrapping up my makeup, I just want to talk a little bit about our trip to Europe that we just came back from. We had 2 weeks in London and Paris in early June. And I talked about it here and there in my video, but I never really went into like how the trip was or what we did. So now that I've updated you on my pregnancy, I think I've told you everything that I want to tell you about my pregnancy. Definitely leave comments or questions in the comment box below, and maybe I'll address it in a future video. But let's talk about something else. Let's talk about Europe, because Europe was so fun. It was pretty much a baby moon for us. It wasn't always planned to be that way, but that is kind of how it turned out. And it was a really good time. I'm so happy that my husband and I had that time together before this big life change that's coming. It was really romantic. We got to spend so much devoted time together as a couple and experience a lot of great things together. And I am just so blessed to have had that trip with him. I'm doing a lot of glitter because I need to use this for my deck of panning before I roll it out. So we're going with double glitter today. So yes, we started off our trip in London, and oh my gosh, let me just start by saying that I absolutely loved London so much. It was such a wonderful city. It was so easy to travel there. The underground system is so user-friendly, and it took you everywhere you wanted to go. It's also a very walkable city. We stayed in an amazing hotel right next door to the Tower Bridge, and it was called the Tower Hotel. And being in such a centrally located area, it was right by the Tower of London. It was right next to the underground station. We really got to explore the city and see so much. London is such a vibrant city. There is so much to do, so much stuff to do for free, which was amazing because, you know, it was not a cheap trip. So much amazing food. I loved the outdoor markets. I loved the theater that they have in that city. We went and saw 2 different shows while we were there. We saw Hadestown, which was so amazing. I had heard great things and I was just dying to see it. So I'm really grateful we were able to do that while we were over there. We got tickets for like 35 euro or something like that. It was ridiculously cheap, or not 35, it was 35 pounds, which is, you know, the pound, it was definitely weaker than the dollar, or stronger than the dollar, I should say. But so it was more than that in dollars, but still a really great price. We had decent seats and it was such an incredible show. So that was really fun to see. I definitely recommend it. Well, the baby is moving a lot right now. I've been feeling a lot of movement. I started feeling movement quite early. They said that with your first pregnancy, you won't feel movement until like, I don't know, like 18 or 20 weeks. And I have an anterior placenta, which means my placenta is on like my belly, like on the outside of my belly. And they say that can like really soften the movements and keep you from feeling them. But I felt my movements quite early. I would say probably around like 15 or 16 weeks, I started feeling like little flutters. And they have only gotten stronger and stronger as this pregnancy has progressed. And now I can straight up see like little pokes coming from the inside of my uterus through my belly. So that's really cool. I love when she moves because it just is very reassuring and lets me know that she's doing good in there. Okay, also in London, we went and saw this show called Come Alive, which is a circus show based around the music of The Greatest Showman. So it's like a Greatest Showman spectacular. It's all these different circus acts and all of the music of that movie, and I absolutely love that movie. My friends and I have like a little obsession about The Greatest Showman. The music is just incredible. We watch that movie like on repeat anytime we hang out and just like sing and dance to all the musical numbers. And so it's a really like sentimental movie, and seeing that show in London was just so incredible. It wasn't even just a show, it was like a whole experience. It was like this immersive like atmosphere that you were in, with like the performers walking around, like a food and bar area, like really cool sets to go take pictures at, and like just really cool things to look at. It was like a whole experience. I loved it so much. I cried during the show. It was so moving just because of how sentimental that show is and that music is to me. I had the best time at that show. I hope it's coming to the States soon because everyone should go see it. I just love a circus show and I love that music. So amazing. Also in London, we did one of those taxi tours in the traditional black taxis. That was really cool to get like a personal guide throughout the city, and we did that early in our trip, like the first day or the first full day. So we really got a kind of lay of the land and a plan for what we wanted to do with the rest of our time there. We went to Buckingham Palace. We saw the changing of the guards. We went to several museums. The museums in London are all free, which is so incredible. So we had such a good time seeing some culture. We went to a history museum, we went to an art museum, we went to a natural history museum. It was really cool. Also in London, we, like I said, went to the open air markets. We had such amazing food. I loved the Indian food there. We just walked everywhere. We went to the Tower of London. That was so cool. I love that like Tudor history of like the kings and the queens, Anne Boleyn, King Henry VIII. I love all that stuff. So it's so cool to like be in those places and walk where those people walked and just really experience that history firsthand. And then from London, we took the Eurostar train to Paris, where we went straight from that train station to Disneyland Paris. As you know, we are huge Disney people, and I was just so excited to see another Disney park in another part of the world. And we really splurged. We did it up. We stayed at the Disneyland Hotel, which is right at the entrance of the park. It's a beautiful hotel, and we got hooked up with a premium room somehow. I think we paid for that, but we had the most amazing room. It had a terrace, which there were many rooms that had terraces that you could go out on. We had a view of the Disneyland castle. Oh my God, this baby is like kicking hard right now. Girl, she's kicking out my bladder. We had a view of the castle, which means we could see the fireworks show from our room. It was so incredible. They have a drone show there. Their fireworks were off the hook. They had drones, fireworks, lasers, water, fire. They had it all. So it was a lot of fun, just like seeing how a different park does it. They have two parks there. They have the Disneyland, and then they have, is it Hollywood Studios, or is it like Disney Studios? I keep forgetting what it's called. But it's this very small park. It's the smallest park that Disney has in any of their parks. But we spent 3 full days there, and we still did not do everything. So don't let anyone tell you that it's a one-day park. We had several people say that to us. They were like, we're very weirded out that we were going for 3 full days. But we had plenty of stuff to do, and we also got to like take our time and do couple things more than once that we really wanted to do. It was really fun to compare their Disneyland with our Disneyland. You know, there's certain things that they really have us beat on. It was so beautiful, the artistry there, the decor. Some of their rides were a lot more thrilling than the rides that we have in California. But there was other things that, you know, the original Disneyland definitely has them beat on, so far as like snacks and food and merch. You know, Disneyland California will always be our home park and our favorite park, but it was fun to see another park and just have a new experience with Disney that we love so much. I had to do a glitter lip because we are doing Y2K makeup, or at least Y2K semi-inspired. And last but not least, we then spent the end of our trip in Paris. And I will admit that by the end of the trip, I was feeling very tired, very exhausted. My feet were swelling. I was struggling by the end of this trip. Being 19 weeks pregnant at the time definitely had an impact on my experience. You know, I wouldn't change it for the world, but we definitely were not, or I was not at my usual energy level for experiencing Paris for the first time. But that said, we did a lot in Paris. We, you know, went to the Eiffel Tower, we went to the Arc de Triomphe, we did a river tour on the Seine on a boat. We did like a little bus tour. We went to some art museums. We didn't go to the Louvre. It was too crazy, and I was fine with that because everything that we did was so touristy that I was just overwhelmed with people and walking. Also, it was so hot in Paris. There was like a heat wave going on. The train was not as user-friendly as the one in London, so that was a little bit of a headache. It was fine, but we figured it out. But it definitely like wore on me a little bit. We had a lot of boulangerie deliciousness. We had quiche and baguette and pastries and all of those delicious things that Paris is famous for. We also went to the graveyard where Jim Morrison is buried, so I got to visit his grave and just walk amongst those really old and historic graveyards. It was really interesting to see. I really wanted to shop for makeup and like skincare in both England and France, but it just didn't happen because I just didn't come upon any of those stores. I went into like one makeup store in France, but it was very much like one specific brand of makeup that I'd never heard of before. I mean, of course, I'm probably not going to have heard of the brands that they have there, but I really wanted to have like a drugstore makeup experience there, and I didn't come upon any drugstores. We were just in really touristy areas, and I wasn't going to go out of my way to go to a drugstore in our limited time. So it didn't happen. I was a little sad about that because I would have loved to bring home some, you know, foreign makeup as a souvenir, but let's be real, I don't need any new makeup. So maybe it was for the best that that just didn't happen. Oh, another wonderful thing we did in Paris, this was probably my favorite thing we did, is we went to Versailles, which was also, you know, a huge tourist spot. The Palace of Versailles is absolutely gorgeous. It's just mind-blowing how opulent that place is. Again, I love the history of the French Revolution and all those kings and queens and all the drama around it. Marie Antoinette and King Louis, and oh my gosh, such a crazy time. And that was very crowded and very touristy, of course. But then afterwards, we got to go into the Versailles Gardens, which are vast. And, you know, everyone gets all spread out. And we got to have like a little picnic there and really enjoy the grounds of Versailles and see all the different like smaller houses that Marie Antoinette lived in, and that was really, really a great experience. So beautiful. And yeah, that was probably one of my favorite things we did. I really love that. So yeah, it was a great trip. It was an expensive trip. I almost canceled the trip because I was like, okay, just because we can afford this, like, should we be affording this? Being that we have a baby on the way and everything. But you know, it's a once in a lifetime thing. We're never gonna have the chance to do that again, just me and Danny. At least not at this age or this time of our life. So I'm glad we did it. I was definitely ready to come home. I missed my cats. I missed being home. I missed my bed. I was very tired, like I said, just from being pregnant and walking around Europe for 2 weeks straight. But yeah, a beautiful trip. I have like a little bump picture in front of the Eiffel Tower. This is at 19 weeks. I swear like I'm still like barely even showing. I'm ready for that bump to pop. I think it's just my body type. I'm not showing very much. It's not super obvious. I really have to like exaggerate my bump to really see it. And I guess it kind of depends what time of day. Like when I first wake up in the morning, I have almost no bump. And then by the end of the day, it's bumping. But I'm ready for a really like pregnant belly to show because I am quite far along now. We are almost to the 3rd trimester, and I'm ready for the world to know it, or at least the world around me that they can see. So here is my finished makeup look. It's just kind of a simple go-to right now. I'm really trying to use a lot of purple eyeshadows. So here's a purple look for you, and that glitter that I wanted to get my use on. A nice frosty lip for that Y2K inspiration. And I'm ready now for a night out with the girls. I'm gonna put some like little fluffy things in my hair that like scream Y2K. But for the purpose of this video, you don't need to see that. And by the way, the reason that I'm doing a Y2K-esque look today, I'm wearing like a baby doll dress. Here, I'll go ahead and stand up and show it to you. So yeah, here's the dress. It's like a little baby doll dress, which I think is very Y2K. And it just like is something I had in my closet. I didn't want to go out and buy something new. But the reason I'm doing a Y2K look is because we are gonna go see And Juliet tonight in the city. And Juliet is a musical. It's a like jukebox musical, so it all has music from the Y2K era, Britney Spears, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and so we are all hearkening back to that era. My prime time, you know, I was, I think 14 when the year 2000 hit. So, you know, that is just my music. So we are feeling very nostalgic and very fun and very girly. And I'm excited for a fun night in the city. So, oh, also I wanted to show you the bump, obviously. So of course it's a baby doll dress. You can't really see much of a bump here, but if I go to the side, you can kind of see a little bump there. Can you see it? Yeah, it's not huge, but it's there. I swear, she's in there. And she's only getting bigger, God willing. So that's all for my chit chat get ready with me. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I'm so excited that the news is finally out of the bag and I can talk about this pregnancy in these videos a little bit more. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to share with you anything that you want to know. And yeah, I just appreciate you for watching this video and for supporting me on this journey and for rooting me along in the background. A lot of you have just been very aware and really reading into these hints and knowing that this is coming. So I appreciate you guys for just, you know, caring about my life and being interested and supporting me. So thank you so much. I am sending my love out to you wherever you are in the world this video finds you, and I hope you're doing well, and I cannot wait to see you in my next one. Until then, take care. Bye.